I trust that this episode is for people that are choosing to create change in their lives right now. You're at a point in your life where either you're sick of your reality, you're burnt out, you are done with your normal, what's normally your reality, what's normally going on for you, the types of abundance that you're attracting, the types of people that you're around, maybe just when it comes to your health, your finances, your career, even just the way that you feel about yourself, and you're choosing right now to create change. You're choosing, okay, I'm going to operate differently. I'm going to do this. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to whatever, right? Listen to this episode when you have chosen to be ready. And I really want to bring this concept into the conversation, which is ready is not a feeling, ready is a decision. A lot of us are waiting around in our lives, and we're waiting for the perfect time to build that business, to quit our jobs, to align to a different career, like whatever it may be. And I want to let you guys know that it's really not about feeling ready. It's about deciding to be ready. You can choose at any time of your day, any time of the month, whenever, any time of the year, right? We're technically in Q4 of the year right now. You can choose at any point to pop off. You can choose at any point to change, to hold yourself to a higher standard, to actually heal and release the energy within you so that you can practice receiving larger sums of money, higher forms of love, whatever it may be for you. So the fact though, energetically, I want to get into this, the fact that you have chosen and you have decided that this is going to be your new reality, that you are going to make X amount of money, that you are going to lose weight, whatever it may be, whatever your goals are, the second that you decide, the universe has granted that manifestation. The universe has said, oh, if you say so, then so it is, right? If you go walk around life and you walk around the world and you say, this is gonna suck, the universe goes, okay, then it will, right? If you say, I'm ready for this, then the universe says, all right, then you're ready for this. It's really you setting the tone and the universe responding to the energy that you're in, who you are being. So the fact that you have decided that this is going to be your story, that this is going to change, that this is going to up level, expand, whatever it may be, the universe has already granted that as your desire. You're already energetically tied to that result, that outcome, whatever it may be. Now, a lot of you might be wondering and thinking, okay, then if I'm already tied to that result, if I've already manifested that thing, how come I'm not seeing it? How come it's not in my 3D reality yet? Now, great question. That's because, yes, you decide, yes, that's already linked to you energetically, that result, that manifestation, that outcome, that car, that home, that location, move or change, right? Whatever it is that you're manifesting, it's already tied to you. It already has your name on it. Think of it as, a particle or a wave floating out in the quantum field that has your name on it. Now, the reason why it doesn't just instantly manifest is because you have to remain in the identity of the version of yourself that actually holds or has or lives that life. So what happens is a lot of people decide, they're like, oh, they get all motivated, they start a new routine, or they start holding themselves to a higher standard, or they start reprogramming their mindset or their relationship with money, their relationship to their body, right? But what happens is you continue to view yourself as a version of yourself that you currently are, right? Now, the version of you that has those desires lives in a completely different identity. They broadcast a completely different frequency. If your manifestations or your desires were held by the current version of you, then you would already have them. So that means that there is something that needs to change in identity, in your thoughts, your feelings, your emotion, the way you take action, your behavior, your assumptions that you're placing on life or results has to match the version of you that has that manifestation. The more and more that you can show up as that version of you that has the manifestation, the more and more you collapse time. So it's really not about time that you're waiting on. It's your relentless conviction and your relentless commitment to being this new version of yourself. That if you have decided, if you are starting to show up differently, what can happen and what you will notice is that maybe for the first couple of days, the first day, whatever, like the first couple of challenges that you wake up in the morning and you decide, okay, I'm operating differently. I'm waking up at a different time. I'm getting my movement in. I'm doing my EFT tapping. I'm journaling. I have a spiritual practice, right? You're up leveling yourself. You're holding yourself to a higher standard. What happens is that in the beginning, there's the most resistance because you are trying to override your current subconscious program with a new one. So you're essentially over time, every single day with every single choice, trying to show your mind, your nervous system, yourself, that you are that new version of yourself now. And so there's going to be the most resistance because every single time that you have a choice to make and you choose, you have the choice of remaining how you have been in the old quote unquote identity versus the new identity, right? You're like, okay, what would this new version of me do? How would this new version of me respond? In the beginning, you're going to have the most resistance. You're going to have the most like mental chatter and internal fighting between your ego and your spirit, or your subconscious and your conscious mind, right? You're going to say, oh, I want to go to the gym. I know that that's what I should do. But your subconscious beliefs are going to come up and be like, oh, we don't want to, or this is going to be hard, or I don't want to get uncomfortable, or any limiting beliefs that you have around the new choice that you know is going to support you. Now, the more and more and more that you remain uncomfortable, the more and more that you accept, hey, this is going to get uncomfortable. This is going to get really, this is going to squeeze me and really challenge me to have to pick the new choice, the new response, the new action, the new behavior, the new thoughts, the new feelings over the old and how I have been operating that I clearly have decided isn't serving me, or at least manifesting things that I actually prefer. You're going to have the most resistance in the beginning. So manifestation, a huge part of this, like identity shifting, quantum leaps, all of these amazing miracle things that can happen when you collapse time, all occur because you decide to persist. A lot of people fall short. A lot of people start to gain this energetic momentum. They're like, I'm really uncomfortable. I'm getting outside my comfort zone. I'm scared. I'm triggered. My nervous system's dysregulated. All of these things, right? A lot of times, a lot of people fall off because they can't sustain this level of uncomfort, of discomfort, right? Uncomfort is not a word. I'm sure it's discomfort. But you guys get what I mean. Like, it's really about waking up every day and saying, the more uncomfortable I am, the more I'm growing. And so just because I'm scared, just because I don't want to do this, just because this is new, just because I'm trying to maintain consistency and discipline, I know that while I'm uncomfortable, while I feel fear, I know that I'm still doing and showing up and being the person that I know is going to get me to that next level, right? Like, a lot of people eventually fall off. They get discouraged. Doubt creeps in. The 3D triggers you. And so you're like, oh, this is a sign that I shouldn't be doing this. No, honey. The second that you choose to step into your light, the second that you choose and decide that you're a powerful, abundant being, what's going to happen is, yes, all of the energies and manifestations and things and situations, possibilities that match that new level of light that you're embodying, yes, you're going to manifest the good. But the law of polarity also shows us and says that when you step into that light, when you shine your light brighter, when you are more confident, when you make more money, right? When you post on social media, yes, you're going to attract all the good things that come with that, but you're also going to attract the bad. And so this journey is really about learning and teaching ourselves and coaching ourselves, training our nervous systems to understand and accept that, okay, I want to post on social media. I want to grow an account. I want to grow a business. I want to be a content creator, whatever it may be. I want to get brand deals, right? Like, let's use this as an example. When you go to post, you're going to feel anxious. You're going to feel fear because you know that that's what you need to be doing. You know that that's what that next level version of you does. You know that it's going to bring followers, likes, comments, community, growth, right? But it's also going to open up the doors for criticism, for people to not like you. And that's just what comes along with this, right? Like, the more you grow, the more that you stand for something, the more that you prioritize yourself, like, you attract all of that. The more that you step into your worthiness, the more money you'll attract, the more love, the more beauty, the more compliments, like all of that's what we want. But we also have to accept and understand that when your light's so freaking bright, the darkness is also attracted to you, right? It's like walking around the world with a big bright light on your back. People that are in darkness are going to be triggered by your light and therefore cast in your direction these, things that we fear. So a lot of people, when they start to gain this momentum and they persist through and they start to embody and integrate in a new identity and they're doing the work, they're uncomfortable, but they understand that's part of the freaking game of life, right? And that everybody that has grown and reached some level of success in whatever area that you're trying to grow in your life, whether that's, relationships, finances, career, a lot of people don't understand that it comes with that contrast. Like, we're not preparing ourselves for that. And so you start to manifest the things that you want, but then you also start to manifest like the contrast or the opposition. And that doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. That's literally the universe responding to you. And it's also like, I really want to drive this home as well. I really want to get this across, that the version of you that lives that life, that is successful, abundant, rich, whatever, is that way because they accept and acknowledge that it's like, once you reach that success, that love, that money, it doesn't mean that your life is automatically supposed to be perfect and you're never supposed to get uncomfortable, you're never supposed to get triggered, you're never supposed to experience discomfort ever again, right? Like, people that are making a lot of money, yes, they have the lifestyle and the cars and they have all the manifestations that you would deem as, oh, that's what I want. But they also have learned to equip themselves with the tools and the necessary things that they need: emotional regulation, nervous system regulation, mindset work, all of these advanced teachings, so that they prepare themselves for any of the contrast that comes along with expanding in that way, right? So just because you are changing, but you're also attracting maybe like hate comments on social media, or maybe you're losing weight and so you're being confident, you feel beautiful, you're connected to your body, you're losing weight, you can fit in the clothes you want to wear, right? Like, you are growing and expanding your aura, your magnetism, your beauty, your confidence. But then people start to act weird around you. Your friends low-key are like jealous, or no one's commenting when it's really freaking obvious. That all comes a part of the game. So you can't pick and choose. You can't say, oh, I want all the amazing things that come with getting rich, but I don't want to deal with any of the negativity, right? Then you're not going to get rich. Then you're going to subconsciously choose to remain in the old identity because your subconscious fears what comes along with that. So I want you guys to think right now. These are how you figure out your blocks. Visualize the version of yourself that you want to become, right? Visualize you living that life. Maybe it's a car that you drive, maybe it's a lifestyle, time freedom, maybe you quit your job at this point and you work for yourself, or maybe you retire yourself early. Like, whatever your goals are, right? Nothing is impossible. Now, when you visualize those things, I want you to visualize what comes along with that you fear. Because even though you consciously want that car, you want that home, you want that time freedom, you want to be able to put your kids in college and pay for it because you had to work yourself 3 jobs to pay for your college experience, right? And you want to be able to build that wealth so that your kids can have a better life than you had, like, right? Like, whatever it may be, think about the fears. Think about what you have to sacrifice. Think about the things that you fear coming from that, right? I know for me, like, making a lot of money on social media means that I have to put myself out there. It means that people might reject me, people might love me, or people might hate me, but I'm never going to know, and people aren't going to know who I am unless I put myself out there and I soak those hate comments, or I don't look at them, or I just accept that comes with the next level, right? Like, when people say new levels, new devils, that very much is true, because every single time that you go to expand, it's going to kick up any resistance or subconscious beliefs that are limiting you. So think about the lifestyle you want, think about the manifestations or whatever it is that you've been trying to manifest. Now, the reason why it hasn't come in is because maybe your subconscious is trying to keep you safe, because it feels that if you were to obtain that manifestation, that lifestyle, that dream reality, that dream life, it would require you to face some sort of fear, or it would require you to accept something that you are terrified to experience. So I really want you guys to think about that. It's so hardwired, this programming that fears that expansion, that you're going to subconsciously or unconsciously choose to remain in an identity that you know is not going to birth those miracles or blessings, because it keeps you safe. It keeps you from experiencing those fears, but it also keeps you from experiencing those blessings that come with that new level. Think about, okay, in order to achieve the conscious things that I desire, my conscious, like what I really truly want for my life, I'm going to have to move through discomfort. I'm going to have to move through the resistance and feel everything within me that contradicts or opposes what I consciously desire, right? just think about your nervous system. Think about your subconscious as it holds all of that fear. It doesn't want you to get hurt again. It doesn't want you to feel abandoned or rejected, or, maybe you grew up with just specific beliefs around money. And so you feel like, oh, well, I want the money consciously, but I know that my family's going to think I'm a bad person or I'm greedy. If I start making a lot of money, they're going to reject me. They're going to, I'm going to feel ostracized. Maybe I grew up with this belief that, you're supposed to grind. Life is supposed to be hard. So if you're struggling and if it's hard and you're grinding every single day, like you're doing it right. But you see a life for yourself where you're able to make a lot more money by putting in work, but also like being able to not live the grind and hustle culture and actually have time for yourself and be able to balance your career and also your family and your time freedom. And so you fear that, yes, like you want the money, but subconsciously that it's possible that your family will outcast you, ostracize you, or reject you because you're living a life where they perceive you in a certain way that you were taught at a very young age to not be like, right? So a lot of people cap their incomes, or they subconsciously make decisions so they remain making even an amount of money that they don't actually want to be making, but because it keeps them safe, because it keeps the peace, because there's no problems with anybody, and everybody like perceives them as a struggling hard worker, but that doesn't have to be your story. So if you're sitting here and you know what you consciously desire and what life you want to live, but you're also sitting here thinking, well, if that were my life, these are the things that could happen. These are the fears that I'm terrified of actualizing or attracting, or I'm terrified of what people are going to think of me if I am this person, if I do this thing, if I live this life, if I believe X, Y, or Z. And I think that when you really sit down and observe the fears that you hold in regards to your manifestation, those are the very, very blocks. And then what you can do is wake up every day and be mindful of that resistance in your body. You can feel it, and you can also observe it within the thoughts that you're thinking, right? So you might have a great idea, for example, to make a lot more money this month, but you're hesitant. You're not maybe you're watering yourself down. You're not showing up fully because you know that, yes, it will bring in the money, but it will also bring in the quote unquote negativity that you don't want to experience. And the subconscious, unless you're moving through this work consciously, the subconscious is always going to try to override anything to keep you safe, right? But in your safety and your comfort zone is not going to birth these new things. These new manifestations, this new life, this new reality comes because you are choosing to live it first. You're choosing to align to it first, and then the universe starts throwing everything your way that's going to match the way that you currently are operating, which will be different because you're shifting everything. You're shifting your internal world. The outer world will respond, okay? This was kind of like not a vent session or a rant, but this is just like a stream of consciousness that was coming through me. If you guys have any questions, please DM me on Instagram. You can DM me. I have private coaching services available. I have an offering where I do one 60-minute call with you, and then it's followed by 1 week of Telegram support, so you can actually have me in your back pocket with you as you're implementing the changes in your life. Or you can work with me for one whole entire month and get 2 60-minute calls and a whole entire month of private coaching. I'll customize resources, EFTs, meditations, techniques, everything personalized and customized to you and what you're trying to manifest, or who you're trying to become and what you're trying to attract. I also have something very, very exciting that should be launching next week, which is a 21-day manifestation challenge. And it's going to be super, super fun. You're going to get a training every single day for 21 days in correlation with any resources that you may need to release energy, to unblock some of these blocks, to call in new energy, or emotionally regulate yourself and regulate your nervous system as well. So all of that is coming. Follow me on Instagram for my coaching. I post my readings on TikTok, and YouTube is kind of where everything goes. I hope that you guys really love this training, and I will see you in the next one.